On the 2nd of December, year 16, the first orders were placed for the new Troubadour class destroyer. 2 ships were ordered immediately, with a completion date of nearly 2 years hence. And with this alarming realization that it was going to take a long time to build these ships, the council realized that perhaps they needed to look for an emergency solution to fix the requested protection of Mars. So it was decided that a new planetary defense base would be created. It would be the Queen Adrienne PDC. And it would have a total of 1 silo, and that would form the sum total of the equipment in the Queen Adrienne class planetary defense center. Their entire job would be to look scary. Five were created and instructed to be built by the industry, and they were placed at the very head of the queue. The maintenance facilities could wait, as the Troubadours would not be coming out of production until 2018, which is a full year and a half until they would finally be handed over to the Navy. And with the commissioning of the Queen Adrienne PDCs, that would satisfy Mars's requirements for the moment. However, the Council took note, and quite important note, of the fact that Mars would require protection in the future, and decided that a standing navy would be the best way to provide that, as the PDCs, even the best equipped PDC, was still stationary, and it would not be able to move around and respond to threats and requirements as needed. So it was decided that a mobile force would be far superior. With the obvious backlog currently in industry, Madison Miles began improving the construction rate of the construction factories, hoping to gain further advancements in how quickly things could be built. The maintenance facilities were mostly completed, an additional 5 still remaining to be built, and would be built in the next 2 weeks or so, which would round hopefully the maintenance capacity up to 6,000 tons at least. Also, with the Burke and Norton shipyard finally building the Troubadour, they're instructed to add an additional slipway to their shipyard. The idea being that they could build 3 destroyers at one time. It would take just over 2 years to complete the project. And the council was quickly realising that the sooner these things are identified and begun, the sooner they are ready to be implemented. Something of key to the military would be increasing the turret tracking speed. The current speed was 2,000 kilometers per second. Increasing that by another 2,000 would be incredibly valuable, so Sophia was assigned to begin research into it. It would take her roughly 5 years at a current rate, especially with such importance placed upon the construction rate research. As yet, the asymmetries in the research establishment still hadn't been rectified. There's still people missing, even though there was plenty of scientists ready to look into energy weapons and biology and genetics. There's still nobody to look into power and propulsion, which is starting to become a bit of an issue. Because the council just wasn't sure, they just didn't know what they didn't know. And that was the most concerning things. Because the scientists were coming up with new ideas regularly. And without someone specialised in that area, it was impossible to know what they were missing out on. But on the 2nd of January 2018, Sean Chadwick, a young and up-and-coming young scientist, finally passed his resident exams and was given the right to move into the research sector. So it was decided that the first things that Chad would do would be to look into pebble bed reactor technology. He would be given every research lab possible in order to speed the research and to begin catching up on everything that had currently been missed out on. And there was this thing that Sean was interested in. He mentioned it to the council. He said, "I'd really like to look into jump point theory," and I was present at the conversation, and the council was more interested in looking into efficiencies with the engines that they had and improving those engines and getting the new reactor technology online. They weren't interested in jump technology quite yet. They weren't sure what that was, and they knew that by increasing, for example, the pebble bed reactors, it would potentially enable the military to reduce the size of the reactors that they had currently being built in the Troubadour class destroyer. So with 10 labs left over, Madison Miles was assigned the asteroid mining module to begin research. And following that, Madison was asked to look into fuel production and improve the current rate. As yet, Puck and Miranda didn't have mass drivers. However, Puck had received its auto mines and it had begun production. Annual production was going to look to be quite strong. It would last for maybe half a decade. That was assessed as being fine. It would just top up the supplies of several of the resources. Tritanium was one particular resource that was running in short supply on Earth, with it estimated to run out in the next 6 months. Miranda was still expecting another 9 auto mines, as well as her mass driver. Indeed, the mass drivers were already on their way to unload them, with the Hale Freighter Company carrying the majority of the components out to the far-flung auto mining base. It was at this time that the council decided to assign governors of Miranda and Puck. Mining bonuses would be key here, and Ben Nolan was assigned as the governor of Miranda after showing a particularly patient streak in his time working for the Undersecretary of Transport and then the Undersecretary of Industry. Kian Turnbull was given the honour of becoming the governor of Puck. He was much more firm with his way of controlling things, and that would stand him in good stead, working with the rough and tumble roughnecks that controlled the auto mines on his far-flung colony of Puck. And on the 2nd of March, the first 2 Troubadours were passed over to the Navy and moved to acceptance and trials. Passing their trials with flying colours. They would form the core of the new home fleet. A couple of days was given to both the Troubadour so that their full complement of sailors was on board, and once they were, the home fleet was ordered to begin training. And with that, home fleet began moving about the solar system to begin its training, improving its responsiveness of its crew. On the 17th of March, the maintenance facilities were completed to give a maximum ship size of 6,000 tons. This would be excellent, as it would take care of the Troubadours quite easily. A third Troubadour was instructed to be completed and constructed by the Burke and Norton Shipyard Company. It would be completed on the 6th of June, year 19. On the 2nd of April, Sean began to close the gap and completed his research into the 0.9, or began research into 0.9 litres per engine power per hour, after finishing the research into the pebble bed reactor technology. And this new reactor, the military were interested to compare this with the existing generation. Aiming for a power output of roughly 1. The reactor could achieve that with 0.4 size, whereas the pebble bed would require 0.5. Indeed, to power the entirety of a Troubadour class, a size 2 reactor weighing in at 100 tons could be assigned. The existing reactor The existing reactors would weigh 50 tons each. So for 4 of them, the entire power plant assembly weighed 200 tons. Decided that this efficiency gain was too good to walk past. And the size 2 pebble bed reactor would be created to potentially replace the old reactors. It would be built by Moore and Hudson. And it would be queued up and given to Sean eventually, after he cleared his sizable backlog that he'd been assigned.